Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. I hope you're having a great day. You're listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Tersh Blissett. Today's episode, we have Frank Forte, and we're going to talk about agile leadership and kind of a little bit about just what that means and kind of how to lead without being like in the industrial age. Is that the best way to say that, Frank? Like it's a different way of thinking. And I love this. I love talking about leadership in general because as leaders, most of the people listening here are some sort of leader, whether you're a leader in the field as a service expert and you're thinking about starting up your business, or you're a leader who has a $20 million business. We're talking leadership, and a lot of times you hear this complaint about millennials. They just don't want to work. They don't want to do anything. But sometimes, a lot of times, most of the times, I'd say we haven't stopped and to think about the fact that is it the fact that they don't want to do something, or is it our leadership skills? Are we not communicating properly? Are we not communicating with the consumer? Has our consumer changed to demand different things, and we haven't pivoted? We haven't done what we need to do on our end to ensure that we're communicating properly. And I'm excited to talk to you today, Frank. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here, Tersh.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself. We were talking before we went live here that you're in the Navy, you're in a submarine. I just I haven't we had a guy on our staff that's he was fresh out of the Navy and submarines, and I was always, I don't know why I'm so inquisitive about the experience of people who are stuck underwater or stuck in a confined space with so many people for such, and I don't have claustrophobia, but I feel like I would have claustrophobia if I was there. But just tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience and everything that you have going on.
Sure. I was telling you a little bit earlier, I grew up in the restaurant business in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Moved to, joined the Navy to see the world and get out of the Midwest, and ended up in submarines through a series of raising my hand and volunteering over and over. So
I didn't think you were supposed to do that. That's what I was told. Like, don't volunteer for anything.
But yeah, it was a great experience. It was, I tell people if they've ever seen the movie, The Hunt for Red October, I saw that movie in a theater in Columbus. And the first 4 times I saw it, I had so many flashbacks, I couldn't tell you anything about the movie. Wow. So I can't tell people what I did, but go see that movie. And it had a big impact on me. But yeah, I mean, hanging out 80, 90 days underwater. A couple cool things we do is we keep all of our garbage with us. And,
I didn't think about that.
120 guys. And oh, by the way, we keep it in the engine room where it's normally 120 degrees. So we cook all of our garbage. So, you get that marinated flavor. We take showers when we do take showers every couple of weeks or so, because we have to make all of our own water. So you got 120 guys, and back then it was all men, taking showers every couple of weeks, getting dirty, lube oil, all kinds of stuff, just getting dirty. And so then you get to take showers every couple of weeks, and you do it in a stainless steel box that's about 2 by 2. And so the submarine's, rocking and rolling. And so you're bouncing off these cold metal walls. Those are just some of the fun things you get to do.
Well, the awesome thing about the human body is your nose. It's crazy. Your mouth is here. Less than an inch above your mouth is this device that it's a defense, but also, I don't know, it's a weapon at the same time, because you can go weeks without brushing your teeth, and everyone around you can know really quickly that you have not brushed your teeth, but you don't realize how bad your breath smells. And your nose is literally an inch above it, but your body develops this natural just acclimation to this odor. And so do you I
Yeah.
perceive that that's maybe happened to you while you're on the submarine?
Yeah. One of the neat things that, kind of validates that is we made our own air, right? We made our own water, made our own air. So for 80 days, we would be in this container of pure air.
Oh, wow.
When we opened up the hatches, everybody got a cold because we weren't used to the germs that normally occur in the atmosphere. And we were out in the middle of the ocean, right?
So what you're saying right now is if you quarantine yourself for 80 days and then you go back out into the general public, you get sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth right now.
No, but I mean, just think about the HVAC component.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
CO2 scrubbers. We had we made our own oxygen. We made perfect air. And there was nothing in there but, and we kept it at about 11% oxygen.
Yeah.
Because if it went below, people couldn't light their lighter to light their cigarettes, and then they got all pissed off.
Oh, get all pissy.
So you knew when the HVAC tech had gotten the mixture a little wrong.
Oh, that's terrible. But the thing about it is it could go really bad too if it was crazy oxygen levels and everything else.
Yeah.
Man, the pressure on that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that's really cool. So and this has, I say this has nothing to do with our conversation, but it does. But it's really cool how much the HVAC industry and the plumbing industry is how important it is in the entire world. And we're in the midst of a pandemic, and things were really bad, then they got good, and people they got real comfortable, and then things got really bad again. It got bad here locally because we never really got into a situation to where we were in like a super strict lockdown. So like my wife just got back from Columbus, Ohio. That's where she's from. That's where her family's from. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. And when she was up there, she was like, wow, it was a massive difference between, Savannah, Georgia and Columbus, Ohio, because there it was legit. Like everybody was policing everybody about having masks on and staying safe, distances and everything. I was like, that makes sense. And then you come here and it's like nobody says anything to anybody about a mask or anything like that. It's very, very like relaxed type scenario, and it's huge difference, a shift between the two of them. And it's just like obviously we don't. I'm a proponent of not wanting a controlled state. Like I don't want people telling me every single move that I have to make personally. It's just if we don't figure out a way to make this go away or solve this solution, it's going to be an ebb and flow where it's going to just come and go for years if we don't solve this. And figuring out a solution like you did there in the Navy is like you created your own air. Like that's just mind-boggling for people. For me, whenever your entire life you're told that if we don't stop killing the rainforest, we're gonna die. If we don't stop cutting it up, y'all found a solution to recycle air and make it so it's healthy and breathable, and so much so that it was so clean that whenever you introduce bacteria and viruses, y'all started getting sick. That's just to me, and it's something that I had theoried about, but not actually really had any like testing or proven facts. And I'm going down a rabbit hole, and I know that totally. I got it. But I just one of those things where it's like, dang, how did that? I mean, I'm not going to ask you what year it was because it was Cold War. We're just going to say that. So, a situation there can relate to something that would happen in 2021, and it's wild how you don't think that stuff at that time could associate to things at this time, but it crazily does, and not only that, I mean, just think about the way you led, like how were you led at that time as a subordinate to a leadership? How was it that you were talked to, and how did you react to that, to being talked to that way? And then now, could you get away with doing the exact same thing? I mean, how would that even play out? You know?
I mean, one of the things that people that haven't been in the military, and I know you were a combat controller, and that's a team-based activity, right? No matter who you were working with, it might be Army, it might be Marines, it doesn't really matter. You were part of the team. Everybody wanted your expertise. They needed you. You were like gold. They were going to protect you no matter what. Right?
Oh yeah, that was a good feeling.
And there were a lot of big guys with big guns to make sure you could do your job. And that's how it was on the submarine. We didn't have this perceived hierarchy, this perceived, the captain of the submarine had his own stateroom. That stateroom was about 8 foot by 8 foot, large bathroom size. Yeah. I came in as a very junior person on the submarine, but I had a skill set that they needed. So they listened to me. I could raise my hand at any time and say, this doesn't look right. Let's double check this.
In the submarine environment, I feel like that if somebody says, hey, this doesn't look right, this doesn't look right, there's going to be a lot of people that are like, okay, shoot, like we're all underwater, and like somebody throws that red flag up, then it's like the Toyota model. Like anybody on the line can hit that button.
Yeah, it's called the andon cord in the Toyota model, and anybody can pull it. And Agile is based on lean, and the Toyota production system was the foundation of lean. And on the submarine, there were 120 guys on the submarine. Once we left port, we had to solve it all ourselves. We couldn't call a service tech. There was no, so we had to figure out how to solve the problem as a team. So everybody and everybody was vested in the solution. Because what I used to say all the time, all we got to do is let the outside in and we die. Right. So the submarine, they don't have to do much.
Yeah.
We don't come home. So everybody was vested. Everybody was held accountable. Accountability is a big thing. And I know we talked a little bit about millennials. I think part of the training that millennials have to go through is accountability. I know you went through it in the military. I certainly went through it in the military. You just got to tell it the way it is. And
so you're saying accountability is a good thing, and it needs to happen. But how do you do accountability with someone who has? And I'm grouping millennials together, but I want people who are listening to this who don't know me personally, that just happen to wander upon this show, to understand that I'm a millennial. And so when I throw people into this group, I throw myself in this group as well. And so and I know that I'm not this way. And so I'm not saying that every millennial is this way, but the perceived notion is that a group of people who have never been held accountable, who have a group of, they're growing up with participation trophies. That's just kind of what we did. And so how do you hold someone accountable who's never been held accountable and not have it perceived as being the big bean boss man that's doing that?
I think part of that is education. Before the incident, a lot of leaders don't educate on, here's the expectation. I need you to speak up. You were telling me about your escalation process that you have in your business.
Yeah.
I need to know. If something's going sideways, I need to know as soon as you know. Don't ignore it. Don't try to fix it yourself. You don't have enough experience yet.
Yeah.
And you've got to be real with them. You know, this is your business. It's the leader's business.
Yeah.
So again, roles and responsibilities. You're the service expert. You've got the latest training that the industry has to offer. Here's how you work with people. Here's what I want you to say. This is how I want you to enter someone's house. This is, I want you to thank them. You know, you got to lay it out crystal clear, right? And then you can have accountability. If you just, as a leader, think this stuff in your head,
that doesn't happen. Who does that?
Well, they should know better, right? How many times?
I've been that guy. I'd be like, what do you talk? What do you mean you didn't know? Like, everybody does that. That's just how you do things. Like, well, I didn't know that. Like, I can't get mad at that person. I did not instruct that person the right way to do it. I mean, Julie, my wife, and I, we were talking yesterday. We were talking about a PM process that we have. We have two new service experts that came on board, and we put both of these service experts on this large PM to try and knock it out in one day. And it was like question. I was like, what is, and these are from two people who, like, they'll ask, they're new to the team, so they'll ask a couple of questions, like, just because they want to make sure that things are right. And they're not people pleasers, but they're very much gonna, their goal is to make sure they do it right, and they don't want to fail us. And so they'll ask questions, but then they'll connect the dots. They don't need every single step. Like, if you skipped a step here or there, they'll connect between the two steps. But it was like question. I was like, what is going on right now? Like, I don't understand. Like, we've done this maintenance for 3 years. Like, why are we having so many, what's the disconnect? And Julia's like, this stuff isn't written down. This is like back when we first started, and it's just one of our original accounts, and we just all knew what to do on this job. Well, it's not written down, the steps and all of the equipment that is touched and the stuff that is not touched. And because we do refrigeration and, ice machines,
Yeah.
walk-in coolers, and they're like, are we doing the reach in? Are we doing the low boy? Are we doing the ice machine? We're like, yes. Why are you asking me these questions? Like, this is the stuff we've done every time. And they're like, it's not written down. And you're like, oh crap. Like, I can't get irritated at that. Like, how is it not written down? Like, how have we done this so long, and this particular account has nothing written down on? And so it's like, I definitely couldn't reprimand. I mean, if they were the least efficient people in the world on this job, like, I couldn't reprimand them at all about any of this, because I take on that responsibility as a leader, not ensuring that the proper procedure wasn't implemented. The standard, the SOP of the entire, our business was skipped over there, and it's my fault, not their fault as a leader.
Yeah, I mean, preventive maintenance is huge, on a submarine, right? Because you don't want things breaking at the wrong time. Mm-mm. So, having literally step by step, and people watch you do preventive maintenance. I mean, I used to do preventive maintenance on nuclear weapons, and so talk about, you want to do it right. You don't want to screw that one up. So just having it outlined, operations manuals.
So I'm sorry for interrupting you. I laying it out like that. So I was telling you before, we have service expert came on straight from the Navy. He did refrigeration, HVAC on a submarine in the Navy. And so he came on board with us, and it was like, cool. Like, y'all do processes and procedures. And for me, I honestly feel like we're one of the better companies out there that's my thing. That's what gets me going, like doing processes and procedures. So like, I have ways of doing it so fast now that there's no reason for us not to do it, which is the whole reason my mind was blown yesterday whenever we had that conversation. But he came in and he's like, you don't have anything. You don't have processes here. And I'm like, man, I'm patting myself on the back because I feel like we're doing good. You know what I mean? And he's like, no, you don't. You're missing stuff. You're missing all kinds of stuff. Like I'm coming in here, and what you just said is exactly what he was like. And I was frustrated at the fact. I'm like, no, man. Like visit any other AC company. Like they you're not going to see anything close to what we have. I mean, we have stuff, information management systems. Like we have cloud-based stuff where you can access it from our website. Like as a service expert, you can see any process and procedure you want to in our entire business at the touch of your finger. You just sign into a website and you have your membership sign in and everything. Like that's not normal for an AC company. Okay. Like, and I'm starting to take offense to it. And it's like, wait a minute, take a second back. Just because it's better than the way you did it yesterday, just because it's better than the other AC companies that you're comparing yourself to, is it really good? Is it better? I mean, just because you suck less than them, does it mean you don't suck? I mean, yeah, it's still bad. You know what I mean? I was like, dang
and
it.
that principle of continuous improvement is, you're the frog in the pot, right? You look around and say, hey, everything's pretty good around here. It's not too hot. I think I'll stay right here for a while. Yeah. But then somebody else comes in and says, hey, there's a whole nother level. We're some, the Navy, especially submarines, because of the risk and the inability to get help, and aircraft, right? Even submarines are a little bit more dangerous than aircraft.
Oh yeah.
Because aircraft can land. Submarines, when they go down, nobody comes and gets them.
Yeah, they just keep going and keep going, keep going. Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's really where I first learned what a high performing team is, what it could be. And I've spent most of my career trying to instruct, inform other people on what the potentiality is. You just nailed continuous improvement and moving towards perfection, even though you never expect to get to perfection. Mm-hmm. That's what we talked about Toyota a little bit. Yeah. That was their expectation, is perfection, knowing full well they would never get there. But if there was a little thing wrong, mm-hmm. It was the responsibility of the line workers to call that out and not get in trouble for it.
Yeah, I mean that whole mindset and concept is amazing to me, and I don't know why we don't implement it more often. And I think that I know that it's definitely a communication breakdown between leadership and people in the field, and a lot of this pertains to it falls on the back of a leader, because most of us came into the industry as, okay, I'm a good service tech. I'm making pretty good money, but my boss drives a new truck. So I want to be my boss. So I'm going into the field. I'm starting my own business. And little do we know the business side of things, but we're really good service techs. And then we get into the business side of things, and you're so deep in learning how to not go bankrupt that you a lot of times people just put the leadership aspect of it to the wayside, and the people in the field become a disconnect to the people in the office. And then you could limp along your entire career as a business owner and have that, work not successfully or happy or enjoyably, but it could work. But a lot of times we're so disconnected between the field and the office that it's crazy how many times, like, and I had this aha epiphany a year or so back, whenever I was talking to a guy, and it was like, yeah, but that happens all the time. Like that, yeah, it sucks. Like you do a ride along and you're like, why are you doing this? It's like 4 extra steps. That sucks. Like nobody wants to do that. Like this, you're wasting 20 minutes every day, or 20 minutes every service call times 4 calls a day. Like that, how much that's adding up quickly. And I'm thinking money and, net profits. He's thinking time, like it just sucks, like to repetitively do stuff. And I'm like, why haven't you said something? And you're like, it's just the way it's been. It's the way we've done things. Like, no, like pull that cord. Like, how can we be more productive? What are we doing here? And it's that whole, and I'll be honest, Simon Sinek was where I first heard that mentality. I know Toyota's been doing it forever, but I was listening to Simon Sinek and he mentioned it, and I kind of did a deep dive in it, and it was the craziest thing. And it's the thing that I've been saying my entire career, but I never knew how to do it or put it into words. You know what I mean? And
I mean, a lot of times, and other companies have tried this, the suggestion box. I've been, just, give a $25 gift card. Just if they save you money, give them a little recognition, kind of fuel that engine, right? That creativity. You want them to create better systems for you. They're the ones who are the experts. They're the ones who have to do it all the time, day in and day out. And if you make them aware, and awareness is, one of the concepts I talk about in my book, is before awareness comes, you can't improve.
Yeah.
You've got to be aware that there's one, improvement is desired by the team. Two, that maybe there's some compensation, there's a reward, right? We are reward-based beings.
That dopamine fix.
So, so little things, just, and it's going to take a while. It's going to take maybe up to a year to convince those folks that you're serious.
Yeah.
And as a leader, the first time you fly off the handle and get pissed off, guess what? You pretty much, now it's going to take 2 years.
Yeah. Restart that time clock.
Yeah. What they remember was you getting pissed off. Yeah. They didn't remember all the encouraging words that you said. Yeah, I'm here. I want to hear your ideas. So we got to learn. I mean, failure is inevitable. Mm-hmm. We want to fail small. And we want to fail forward fast.
Yeah.
Right. That's how we keep up with the pace of change that's going on, and not just in your industry, just about every industry.
Yeah. No, I believe it. So you mentioned your book. I don't want us to finish anything without you telling me about your book and where I can get it.
Agile Thinking Demystified. It came out in September. It's available on Amazon. You can just Google my name, Frank Forte. It'll come up. And if you've got a large firm that you want to make significant changes to, it's probably the book for you. But also everything we're talking about, the awareness, the continuous improvement, how to be a leader. All those things are kind of in there, and it's a small book. It's pretty dense in the words. It's like a manual. Yeah. I wrote it like a manual. Like, okay, I want to know about leadership. Okay, I flipped to that. Experience. How do I grow people's experience? Okay, there's a section there for that. So it's really for those people that want to take their business to the next level, can't afford maybe to hire an executive coach, like I am. So it's kind of a gift, to everybody. It's and there's questions. I've got questions at the end of each section to help you reflect and apply it to your particular situation, because one size doesn't fit all. Yeah. And as we've talked about a lot of things, there's a lot of different situations. You talked about millennials. Maybe that's your biggest challenge, and you're going to go through the book, and every question that gets asked at the end of the chapter, you're going to put it in that context.
That's the hardest thing is listening to a book or reading a book, and then you're like, how does this apply to me? Like, how do I make that work for us? and having those questions and putting it in real life scenarios. That's really, because a lot of times we will read or be presented with a book or a thought process, and the whole thing is like theory and theory this and theory that, and putting things into practice, asking those questions and getting that feedback there that is what's valuable to me, because everybody has that the value their time, and everybody's busy and everybody has stuff going on, and so that's where I struggle at picking up a book and reading it, because I'm like, if I'm not getting value when I'm reading this, like I don't read for fun, like that's not me. I'm not a funsies reader. So if I'm not getting something out of this read, then it's wasting my time, and I could be making money, or I could be improving a process some other way during this time. So that's huge value in itself. The fact that you can put that stuff in and ask that question and make that correlation, that relationship between the two is awesome. I appreciate you doing that as an author. That's awesome.
Yeah, I made it, so there's, call outs, in boxes. And so I made it so you can flip through it, and something will, kind of catch your eye. The sections are small, 3, 4, 5 pages.
Oh yeah.
And so you can take one of those, read it, might lead you someplace else. It might be enough. So, my vision for it is it ends up being a manual, and it's all torn and tattered and, bent and dog-eared and all that. But to me, it's a manual on bringing an agile mindset into your organization. And, we talked about a few examples of what that really means, but it's really empiricism. It's like, I'm not going to assume that I know. I'm going to run some experiments. I'm going to get some feedback, and then I'm going to pivot and make changes based on that experience. You don't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect to get different results.
Isn't that the definition of insanity?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how most businesses are run. That's how I've run in the past.
And in this day and age, a lot of times it's just working harder, not smarter. You had a couple really good examples that we chatted about, pertinent to your industry.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for coming on the show. Did I not ask? Is there any questions out there that we need to discuss before getting off here? Before I ask how people can connect with you?
I don't think so. I quite honestly, we had such a great conversation beforehand.
Yeah.
Before he started the recording, I just it's all kind of mushed together. But I really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everything, honestly, and sharing all of your information with us and your knowledge. Where can we learn more about you and connect with you with us?
Forte Leadership Technology. .com is my website. I'm on LinkedIn, Frank Forte, or Forte Leadership Technology again. And great to be here. Great conversation. Thank you for your service to our country.
Same. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for doing that. Again, being in under that water for so long. And like I'm a swimmer. I swim, but like there's only so much of that ocean that I can swim through. So I appreciate that, honestly. Cool. And thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for sharing everything. And I look forward to learning more from you for sure. But with that being said, thank you everybody also that's watching this and asking questions. And Travis, hey man, in the live chat on Facebook. Thank you for watching the Service Business Mastery podcast. This is the podcast focused on service business owners, managers, and technicians who are considering becoming business owners themselves. So with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful and safe week until we talk again next time. Thank you again.